Thank you, Shark Punch 007, for confirming my test. Um, Welcome back, y'all. It's Thursday. It is Thursday, my dudes, and my gals, and my non binary pals. Oh boy, I'm very high in the screen today. Um, Welcome to another installment of IATSE's Game Worker Unionizing Stream. Welcome back, Stussy. Glad to see you as always. This week, we're talking about the road to a union. What are the steps that are necessary to forming a union? And I feel like in previous streams we have talked about this more broadly, but today we're really going to break it down and talk about why we do certain things, and how we're here to help you every step of the way. Sounds like a great plan. Today I was in Rochester, New York, helping the working man crew negotiate their first contract. Can't wait to share that with y'all. Once we write it, tentatively agree upon it, and then ratify it. And if you're not sure what that means, we have talked about it on previous streams before. So if you want a real in-depth take on negotiating contracts, you can check out this QR code right here, or go to gameworkers.org/links, or go to youtube.com/IATSENY and check out the many past streams that we've got available for viewing on a plethora of different organizing topics, one of them being negotiating a first contract. We had a really great conversation with Pat White from our education department about what is needed to negotiate a first contract, but we've also talked at length about getting to that point and bargaining. Because that's ultimately what happens when you form a union. You gain the power with which to negotiate with your employer for around the conditions that affect you at work. Because right now, as individuals, we don't have the ability to do that. If we did, we likely wouldn't have so many issues at work, Think about any time you've ever gone to HR, or anytime you've ever asked your supervisor for a raise or a promotion. How did that shake out for you? Maybe sometimes it worked, On an individual level, for me, can't tell you how many times I asked for a raise and was denied every single time. Crazy. I started to wonder, is it me? Am I just not saying the magic words that will get me the raise? No, it wasn't me. Because other people at my company shared a very similar experience. And, that's what happens when you've talked to your coworkers when you're starting a union, is you find out a lot of your issues are very common and shared amongst you and your coworkers. So, yeah, I go on a lot of tangents, and that one started with working man and ended with me talking about not being able to get a raise at my old job. But anyway, let's get into it. I am screen sharing, but my video isn't there. Hold on. Hold the door. There I am. Okay. And I'm also going to make this bigger, because I think it's important that we see as much of it as possible. I started the stream before I set this up and realized as soon as I hit start stream that I hadn't set up the screen share portion. Okay, so here we are. Road to a union. Let's start at the very beginning. And the very beginning starts with you. You know, it only takes one person to get this process started. You don't need a wave of angry people holding pitchforks who have reached their limit to move forward with the union. You can have one person who says, you know, I think that we can do better. I think that I value my job at this company enough to say that I want to say in the conditions at work that matter to me. And that could be a lot of things. That could be your healthcare protections. Maybe you have a really good healthcare plan at work and you don't want them to ever change that without consulting you first, right? You might have a really great vacation plan. Like they might offer you 4 weeks of paid vacation every year to be taken at any time. And you want to make sure that they don't suddenly decide that the new company policy is it's 2 weeks, again, without your consent. Whenever your boss is enacting like a brand new policy, like you just kind of have to take it, right? It's like, here's the new policy. If you don't like it, there's the door. And you're, you know, more than likely to accept that these are the new conditions that you're under because you need this job. You know, you don't want to quit. And maybe that one thing isn't enough to like make you so upset you'd leave. But over time, maybe you work at this place for like 10 years. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, this place was really different than it was 10 years ago. You know, I no longer have that great vacation plan. The health care plan has changed a lot, and I feel like I'm paying more out of pocket than I used to. I can't see my old doctors anymore. The return to work policy has been really burdensome. Now I've got a family and kids, and there's no childcare offered, and I wasn't able to get parental leave because we were in the middle of a project. You know, there's a multitude of reasons that you could say to yourself that like, now's the time for me to do something. And it doesn't have to be, again, like that angry mob with pitchforks coming for Frankenstein's monster. Which was really the monster in Frankenstein. Maybe we'll talk about that more when we get closer to Halloween. But it can start with one person saying, I want to be able to have a say in the things that matter to me at work. Because work, our jobs are central to so much in our lives. And I know that y'all know this, but maybe it's not put into a perspective like everything is contingent on your employment, your home, your health, your well-being, your family's well-being, if you have dependents. You know, we don't always, like, it's almost like we want to pretend that work is separate from all of that, and that we leave work at the door when the workday is over. But work is like the thing that we have that provides us all of those other things. Without it, you know, It's tough. So if it comes to the perspective of being like, okay, well, this is this major thing in my life that I have no control over. The only thing I have control over is whether or not I quit. I don't have control over how much I get paid. I don't have control over my job title, even if I'm doing the qualifications of a job title that might be a higher level. I don't have control over the policies that are enacted at work. So how can I have control over that? Well, there is power in a union. So you have that magical thought and you say to yourself, self, now's the time. I'm not going to sit around anymore and let my boss walk all over me. I'm going to stand up for myself and my coworkers and get the rights and protections on the job that we deserve from now until forever. At this point, I will just caveat that in the visual that I've made here, including artwork from myself, your own Farkash, Marissa Bernstall, and Kelly Larkin, who are all amazing artists in the Animation Guild, and helped us put this zine together. But we laid out step 3 as something that you can do at any time. And we'll get to step 3. But I'll just kind of like spoiler alert. I'm telling you right now, step 3 is contacting an organizer. Okay. You can contact an organizer at any time during this process. You can contact an organizer before you even get to step 1 because you just want some information. You want to know what your rights are and how you're protected under the law. Or you want to know like what our strategy is to win. Or you want to know even like how we can get started. You can contact an organizer at any time. And again, check out this QR code. Go to gameworkers.org. Contact an organizer through our website. Hit us up here on Twitch. Or, email us at rpg@iatse.net. Or me directly, which is cfellmeth@iatse.net. If you type in !organize in the chat, it'll give you all that contact info. But it's also available on our website, so many ways that you can get in touch. But you could contact an organizer at any point in this process. It's never too early and it's never too late. Hit us up anytime. So what comes next? What's step 2? Step 2 is to talk to a trusted coworker. And you'll see Poss here, this possum character, sitting here at his computer having a Zoom call with Shelly. I think their name is Shelly. I'm going to assume it's Shelly because it's a turtle character, and I completely forgot their name. We're going to call him Shelly for this session. But you see Poss here having a Zoom call with Shelly. It's important that people that you're having these conversations with see you face to face. If you're texting somebody, and I feel like we've talked about this before, maybe we talked about it during our one-on-one conversation training, which again is available on our YouTube channel for rewatching at any time. But if you're texting people, so much can be misinterpreted in text. When you're like dating somebody new and they send you like a weird text and you don't know how to interpret, you're like, what does it mean? And they used an emoji, like, what does it mean? Think about that. But when somebody's trying to text you to join a union, you're like, what? What does that mean? I don't understand. It's not effective and can be misinterpreted and misread in so many different ways. We want to make sure that we are being clear and also being brave and coming out of our shells to let each other know that we're willing to do this. We're here to support one another, and we got each other's backs. So not having this visual to go along with that can make it a bit tougher. And when you're having this like first conversation with a trusted coworker, like, you might feel okay enough to call them on the phone and have this conversation, but I wouldn't encourage that you just message them. Unless you know them like really, really, really well. I will say, in the instance of me, and again, this is like us knowing relationships that we have with one another and using our best judgment. When we were starting to organize a titmouse, I got involved in the whole process because my dear friend Rachel, who, if you don't know Rachel, she went to the White House and met with the president and the vice president to talk about labor rights and labor issues as an Animation Guild member. One of the coolest things I've ever seen anybody do in my entire life, and I don't think anyone will ever be able to top that. Like, just amazing. But she hit me up on Discord. She messaged me on Discord and just very flatly said, "Hey, Chrissy, we're forming a union. Do you want in?" I was like, sign me the fuck up. But she did that because she knew that we shared a lot of common issues at work, and that I was very much tired of the conditions that I was working under and was having an insanely difficult time navigating my own ability to make change at work for the benefit of myself and others. So she had a very good idea about how I would answer this question. And she was so right, because I did say yes, and I joined the organizing committee immediately. But if you're not like 100% sure on that, definitely having this conversation visually, video, or in person is important. And again, you can check out our YouTube channel, go to our YouTube channel and watch the one-on-one training. That can kind of help you navigate that conversation for the first time. Because the thing about it is, also, this is a learned behavior, having these conversations with your coworkers. And the first couple of times, you're kind of getting used to doing it. Practice, right? Part of what we did a lot with our titmouse organizing was having consistent practices with each other so that we could kind of get the feel of how this might go with certain coworkers. So consider this like your training wheels conversation. It should be quite easy because, again, you know and trust this person. And you have a pretty good idea of how they'd land on either a yes or no. You're going to want to talk to somebody you're pretty sure is a yes, by the way. You're not going to want to talk to somebody you're pretty sure is a no. Because the point of this conversation is to ultimately get more people to help you do this work. And if in this conversation your coworker is like, yeah, that sounds great, I'm so in, but like, what do we have to do? And you're like, well, I don't know. But why don't we contact an organizer at the IATSE and get more information? Great idea. Love that. And then we three can have a conversation about what it takes. You'll be better educated about all of these steps. Or you've watched all of our videos and you already know, and you just tell them flat out, like, this is the steps. You downloaded a copy of our zine, which is available again at this QR code or at gameworkers.org/links. And you've got it laid out pretty plainly, at least broad strokes. But you ultimately want to recruit this person to help you. And if they say, I'm not into the idea of helping you, but you count me as yes, that's cool too, you know? Or, on the flip side of this, you're like, I'm not entirely sure who I should talk to. How do I get started? Again, contact an organizer, which is step 3, contacting an organizer to help you strategize to win. And again, that can happen at any time. We're here for you before step 1, between step 1 and 2, between step 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 7A and 7B, so there's not 9. But there's many steps after what's outlined here specifically, which is leading up to getting to a contract. But I digress. So, step 3, contact an organizer. Hit us up. You can see pause here with Shelly talking to ghost person whose name escapes me. But they're strategizing a plan to win, because that's what we're here to do, help you win your union with all of the knowledge and know-how that we have available and our many years of experience in organizing, as well as our massive team of people who are here to help. Legal team, organizing team, leadership. The IA's got your back. We're here to help you because we want y'all to be members. We want you to have your union. So contact an organizer anytime. Okay, so now we're getting to step 4, which is the next phase, right? Which is talking to all of your coworkers to find out if they're also in favor of a union. We got to know. We got to ask them, hey, kitty cat dude, how do you feel about coming together collectively with your coworkers to have a seat at the negotiating table? Kitty cat dude's like, hell yeah, sign me up. Kitty cat dude has my energy in this conversation. Romeo over here, I'm going to call him Romeo after Kelly's parrot, because I'm also forgetting their name. But Paz and Romeo over here, Romeo's got a lot of questions they don't really know. And that's likely to be the majority of people that you interact with when you're having these conversations. People get very hung up on the fear that someone will say no and get them in trouble. And the reality is that those people are so few and far between. And also, we likely know who they are. You've likely got a good feeling about people at work who would not align with this idea. And that's what we're here to help you with. So strategizing how to talk to those people, when to talk to those people, because we do want to talk to everybody. We want to ultimately, if we can get 100% unanimous support before we file our petition, like, wow, what a showing to your boss that we are strong. But the reality is that we might not, and that's okay. We don't need 100% unanimous support to move forward. We need that supermajority, which is what I'll talk about in the next step. But the majority of people you talk to are going to have questions, because guess what? It's highly likely they've never been a union member before, and also have never formed a union before. We're doing very new things. New concepts for game workers is forming unions. It's not something that a lot of people have done before. Some people might have organizing experience in like politics or in another facet of collective action. But it's highly likely you're talking to somebody who has no idea what the hell is going on. And they're going to have a lot of questions. And that's okay. We're here to answer them. And again, that's also why you partner with the IATSE, because we're here to help you and give you the answers to those questions so that you are armed with information and you can ultimately educate your coworkers, because a lot of this is dependent on workers having that knowledge, because knowledge is power. Knowledge about what your boss might do in the instance that we unionize, like that. If you see it coming, you know what it is. You recognize that it is anti-union behavior and they just want you to vote no. But if everybody sees it coming, they know what it is and they don't fall for it. I know that in the past, if you check out the More Perfect Union Instagram or YouTube page, they have some video from inside the UAW anti-union captive audience meetings, basically. So they would have like these big mandatory meetings at the it might have been a Ford facility. I'm not entirely sure, but it is an automaker where people were forced to sit down and watch these anti-union videos. Ultimately, they didn't work, again, because the workers knew what it was, that it was BS, and they fought against it. So, as part of our one-on-one conversation, we are also talking about what it is that people are afraid that your boss might do in the instance that we unionize, but also like preparing them for what they're likely to do. They might not do that stuff, and great. If they don't, awesome. We were over prepared. Never a bad thing. All right. So, whoa. Hold on. Hold the door. Okay. So the next part is building a supermajority of support among your coworkers. Wow, look at them all. Whoa. There's Romeo, Cat Dude, Shelly, Poss. And now there's Grizz, I think his name is. His name is Grizz now. But you're building a supermajority of support with your coworkers to ultimately find out if we have enough support to form a union. And we've gone over these percentages before, but I'm happy to repeat myself because I feel like I do it all day anyway. To me, my cats, my partner, everyone, my mother. Anyway, you, under the National Labor Relations Act, you could trigger a union election, a vote, with just 30% support. So if you can prove that you have 30% support from your coworkers that a union is necessary, you could trigger a vote. And you're like, okay, cool. That sounds great. Let's do it. Hold the brakes. Pump the brakes, rather. Pump them. If you go forward with 30% support, that leaves 70% of your coworkers who you have no idea how they'll vote. And it's very likely that you will not win. It's risky. You might say like, oh, well, why don't we just fuck around and find out? Well, we don't want to fuck around and find out. We want to secure a win. If we lose, we have to wait a full year before we can try again. And in that year, your boss has free reign to do all the union busting they want, including firing everybody and starting over. Because there's no union protections. They can't fire you for attempting to form a union, but you are still an at-will employee, and therefore they can make up any reason to let you go. So what we try to do to mitigate the risk is to aim for a supermajority, which is 60% or more. Our goals are 80% to win our union. Because that says a lot of things, right? Like, you only need 50 plus 1% support. So if there's 100 workers at a studio, you need 51 people to vote yes. If it's 50-50, it's a draw. train left the station. I'm sorry. I was in the car for like 4 hours today. Little burnt. But, okay, yes. So if we win with just that slim margin, right? And we win with that like 50 plus 1%. That tells your boss that 49%, almost half of the workers don't care or don't want this. So that ultimately does not give us a lot of leverage at the bargaining table, because they're only negotiating with half of us. I mean, there's many ways that we can improve that, but, you know, we still want to show them that we are strong, unwavering, and a large percentage of the workers. And that can lead to gains at the negotiating table, but it can also lead to step 7A, which I think I'm back. Technology is the bane of our existence, is it not? Union busting Amazon, shutting down this union talk. Yeah, man. Jeff Bezos just doesn't want me out here talking to you all about how to get this done. Because now Jeff Bezos is investing heavily in video game film adaptations. I just saw that on Game Developer the other day. But anyway, back to it. Let's get back right into it. Oh boy, and there's all my stuff. Oh, cool that it didn't save. All right, hold on, folks. What would a stream be without some technical difficulties? Okay, so we were at 7A. At least I remember that much. Even though my brain is mush today. So once we achieve our supermajority of support, okay, we file our petition for a union with the National Labor Relations Board. We collect authorization cards, which are cards that say, I authorize the IATSE to be my bargaining agent and representative union. Signed me. Your boss never sees that card. The only person who sees that card is you, the organizing committee member that signs it with you. Like, they're there. They give you the card. They hand it to you. They watch you sign it. And then the National Labor Relations Board, which, if you didn't know, the National Labor Relations Board, they're union. So they usually get very excited when they see a union win. They love it, because they're union too. So you build your supermajority of support, you sign your authorization cards, you file your petition for a union, and ultimately you march on the boss, and that can be in many different ways. It could be in person, it could be a Zoom meeting, it could be just the IATSE reaching out on your behalf. It's kind of up to us to determine what you feel is right. And it's something that we would discuss with y'all when we get to that point, like how y'all want to do this. But then your boss has two choices. And Poss is not the boss here. He's just contemplating the two places we could go from here. First one being voluntary recognition. Voluntary Recognition Boulevard. Let's go down that street. Okay. So with voluntary recognition, it is the path of least resistance. We're a union. That's it. You're a union. And now we can start negotiating your contract. Look at how happy these folks are. Even cranky grizzly bear man. And all of a sudden there's a dog girl now, because guess what? Oh, and there's like a little rat child. This isn't like a child labor place. Not a child. But they're all here because we had that supermajority of support, and we won. We won our union. Easy as that. And that is also why we aim for that super high supermajority number, because we ultimately want to tell your boss that they don't, like, it's useless to oppose us. It would be a vast waste of resources, time, and money on your employer's behalf to try to bust us, to try to fight this. And we should just skip all that and get straight to bargaining our first contract. That's voluntary recognition. It's awesome. We were able to achieve it at Titmouse in New York, and we can do it again. The other choice they have, again, two options: voluntary recognition or a National Labor Relations Board election. So effectively, by signing authorization cards at this point, you have voted yes for your union. But your boss can say, well, I don't believe you. I want to verify this with the National Labor Relations Board and make y'all do it all over again. So effectively, they ask you to vote a second time. But it is an anonymous, secret ballot election, and that can be done in person, by mail, or through a hybrid vote. If you have an in-person vote, it will look very similar to what I have illustrated here. There will be, again, a secluded place that no one can see how you are voting, for you to fill out a ballot, much like voting in a presidential election, which if you haven't registered to vote, you should do that, because labor rights are on the docket, along with many other things. But that's a conversation for another day, and I am not the political team at the IATSE. I am just an organizer, so okay. It's private. You can go behind a curtain. We will be there to help set up the booth. Both your union reps and the employer are involved in inspecting the booth to make sure that nothing's silly is going on, like a spy camera installed somewhere to ultimately see who's voting how. Like, you know how they did that on like Survivor? They would have like the secret camera that was like looking over people's shoulders to see what they were writing, making sure that that's not involved anywhere. And no audio recording, etc. It is private, secret ballot. You fill out your ballot, you put it into an envelope that goes into another envelope that has your name on it so that it can be verified that you are actually an employee there. It gets sealed by yourself and then put into a box that is only ever accessed by the National Labor Relations Board third-party member, so that it is completely neutral. Once everyone who is there votes, the votes get counted in a separate meeting where all parties can and should be present to count the ballots and ultimately find out if we've won. This can also happen through the mail, meaning like if you've got a lot of people who are remote workers or everyone works remotely, people can get their ballot through the mail. And as opposed to it being a one-day only event where people come into work and vote and that's the end, this is a multi-week event because we are dealing with the United States Postal Service, and it can take a long time for ballots to get distributed to people, especially if they live on opposite coasts from where the ballots are sent from. The ballots are ultimately sent from the district in which the petitions are filed. So, for example, in the case of Working Man, we had the ballots sent out from an upstate New York district, and there were some workers who were on the West Coast and in Texas that it took a really long time for their ballots to get to them. and you are at the behest of the Postal Service. So, but you fill out your ballot in exactly the same way. It's the same ballot. You put it in the mail, and you mail it directly back to the National Labor Relations Board. And then we have a meeting. We count all the ballots, and we find out if we won. Or it can be a hybrid, again, which is a combination of both, which is you have an in-person contingent and then you have a mail ballot contingent. So if people can come into work, so if you've got like a hybrid workplace where some people do come into the office, people can vote in person, or they can be given a mail ballot. But you are not allowed to both vote in person and through the mail. Like, that is fraudulent. So, one ballot per person. It ultimately gets determined whether or not you would like to be in person or a mail ballot prior. So that, again, this is all fair and up to snuff. And once you've won your election, our union is formed. Ta-da! That's just part 1 of 2, though, because the next part is, again, negotiating your first contract. And that's a whole other road. Whole other road. This road that forked back here ultimately converges again into forming your negotiating committee. And that road also has many twists and turns, just like this one. Just like this one. So let's get a look at the whole thing. Pardon my Adobe Acrobat interface as I shrink it. And again, you can download a copy of this on our website at gameworkers.org/links. But you see here, yet again, get all this out of here. It all starts with you. One person having a thought. One person igniting a spark that then becomes a fire that ignites in others, catches and gains momentum, and by the time you get to here, it's a fire that can't be put out. And no matter what, we're going to win. And that's what we're here to do with the IATSE. We're here to help you secure a win. Giving you all the knowledge and know-how that we have at our dispense, as well as all of the organizing and strategy that we have, that we have seen success in animation, visual effects, video games, film, television, across the board. And we're ready to help you do it. We just need you. We can't do this without you. You got to get in the car to drive down the road to a union, even though nobody is driving a car on this road. You got to put on your shoes, and nobody's wearing shoes either. You got to put on your shoes to walk down this road to a union. So it all starts with you. Well, back at me. Again, if you want a copy of this, right over there, right over here, gameworkers.org/links. Someday I'm going to get it correct. And we can get started on your campaign today. I said it last week. I'll say it every week. And if I had enough knuckles, I think I would get it tattooed on my knuckles. But the best time to form a union was yesterday. The second best time is today. So the sooner we get started, the sooner we win. So let's do it. Hit us up. Gameworkers.org. Hit me up. ! Organize in the chat. You know, I'm just going to type it in case y'all need it. There you go. There's my email. Hit me up. Or do it on the form on our website. And I just want y'all to know that, like, If you contact us, I'm not telling anybody. This is 100% confidential. There is no obligation to do anything, but we will give you the advice and the things that you need to get started, and then you can take that information and do with it as you will. Whether it is reaching out to a coworker to talk to them first, or it's setting up another meeting with us to talk about more seriously what we could do. But it's got to start with you. Nobody else is going to do this for you. I would love to just like walk into your studio and just plant a flag and say, this is it. We're a union now. But it's not how it works. We got to follow the law. And we got to strategize to win in the face of the laws that we are currently under. Which is also why voting is so important, because we really need to pass the PRO Act. We really, really need to pass the PRO Act. It's been sitting for so long, and it would give workers so much power that we don't want to lose in November. Okay. I think that's enough soapbox for today. But the PRO Act, PRO Act, Michael's check it out, read about it. There's a lot of information available online about what it contains. But it is pro-labor, pro-worker. I think that's all I got this week, folks. I appreciate you sticking it out for the blip in the stream. OBS just decided, it had enough of my attitude today. And I've had enough of my attitude today. Again, was in the car for 4 hours. Driving back from beautiful Rochester, New York. I got pizza from a place called Pizza Wizard. And number 1, coolest pizza box I've ever seen. Number 2, excellent Granny Square style pizza. Loved it. Okay. So if you're ever up there, hit up Pizza Wizard. Also, get yourself a garbage plate, because that's just the tradition. If Ben Spade's watching, he will absolutely back me up on what a 5-star dining experience that was. How he dreams of it every single day. I know he 100% disagrees with that. They also have really great hot dogs, and I am... Oh, there he is. Ben says 5 out of 5. Thanks, Ben. They also have really great hot dogs, and I love a hot dog. And they're very close to Buffalo, so their hot wings are also ace. All right. Now this is a food channel. I'm going to start giving food reviews every week from now on, and hope that that inspires you to form a union. Anyway, contact an organizer today, because again, this doesn't happen without you. We got to do this together, and we're here to have your back. We're here to do this with you. So let's do it sooner rather than later. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And if you're considering forming a union, that you hit us up ASAP. But I'll be back here next Thursday. Same time, same place, same me. Maybe there'll be a guest. We'll figure it out. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.